Josh is a grown man. You know, he's got to make the best decision for him and his family. No matter what, Josh is like a brother to me. We came in together. We've had a bunch of different coaches together. I'm going to support him in any way I can.
And what can you tell these kids to start early and to be successful in middle school and high school?
Play quarterback, no.
So yesterday, Saquon Barkley finally swallowed up his pride and ended up signing the franchise tag with the New York Giants on a one-year deal worth up to $11 million per Adam Schefter. In a time where the running back market has gone down a drain, there have been a lot of talk this offseason of running backs sitting out till they get paid what they are worth, with many of them getting on a Zoom call just a couple of days ago to, I guess, boycott the NFL. Nonetheless, why is this news even significant for us, the Raider Nation? Well, because that puts all the pressure on our former running back and NFL rushing leader, Josh Jacobs.
And you tell them one thing, just win, baby. It's because you're not feeling oozy.
See, the two biggest names of backs going into the offseason this year, after having great years last year that everyone expected or at least assumed would be getting paid, was both Josh Jacobs and Saquon Barkley. But with the deadline to sign any kind of extension coming to pass, the only question that was left was whether or not these guys would hold out or give in to signing the franchise tag. So with Saquon Barkley saying fuck it and signing the tag just yesterday, it puts all the pressure on Josh Jacobs to see if he's even going to continue to hold out or sign the tag and play another season with our Las Vegas Raiders. Now, do I think that Josh Jacobs should be paid? Well, of course. You guys already know how I feel about this whole situation. I've been saying this for the longest time. I've been pounding the table for this guy to get paid all the way up until like halfway through the season last year. I didn't even care about what the running back market was going to look like because I knew that Josh Jacobs was basically our whole offense and was the number one guy that we had on the offensive side of the ball that was carrying this team on his back alongside of Devontae Adams. But when you really look at it and you think about a name that stands out on the offensive side of the ball, it's definitely Josh Jacobs. But I'm not the only one that thinks this. Many people have voiced their opinion on this situation, starting with Josh Jacobs himself, sending multiple subs across social media. Even his own teammate, Devontae Adams, was asked about the situation, and this is what he had to say.
I've been talking to him. We've been in his ear a little bit, just trying to coach him through this process. I've been through it a couple of times myself, and I know what it's like to go back and forth about whether or not you feel appreciated. And obviously, that's a big part of just that position, and it's been that way for a while. I'm praying everything works out because if we really want to have a shot at winning the Super Bowl and having all the the elite aspirations that we do, we're going to need that guy. So, I'm praying that we can still figure something out, but also understanding where Josh is coming from, but trying to coach him through it at the same time.
And I do agree with him. I feel like this Raiders team could be contenders going into the season with Josh Jacobs in the backfield, but I guess that comes with the price. Many can speculate that Jacobs wants to get the bag after having a career year, but he's already stated that he wasn't trying to reset the market. So what else could it have been? Guarantees? Yearly salary? When you look at the top running back right now that's getting paid, he's getting $16 million a year. So anything near that number, I feel like Jacobs probably wanted somewhere around $13 to $16 million. But I'm sure the Raiders weren't going to go anywhere near that. I feel like their top out was somewhere around $12 million per. Then again, this is all speculation. We just know that the Raiders have made offers, but who knows if it was good enough for Jacobs and his people. Now, just yesterday, Josh McDaniels had his presser, and he was also asked about the situation of Josh Jacobs, and he basically came out and said that he has respect for him and his decision moving forward.
But look, I respect every player's right to try to do what's best for them. That's why, the league is what it is in terms of value and contracts, and those things are personal. We all have to go through them. I understand it. I've said it, multiple times this spring. I respect him tremendously. Have a great deal of respect for him as a player, as a person, what he did for our team last year, and I look forward to seeing him, whenever he is here. And I respect that process too. It's his decision to make, and they all have to do what they think is best for them. We all have to do those things in our lives, and I have a great deal of respect for him.
Now, after listening to that, it just seems to me that McDaniels and this new regime never really planned to have him back this year for anything more than a franchise tag. I've stated this many times before. When you look at last year, you look at this new regime when they came in, they did not have any plans for Josh Jacobs, which is why I felt like they made the moves that they did last year. First, by extending everybody from Carr to Waller to Hunter Renfrow to not picking up Josh Jacobs' fifth-year option to signing all these running backs in free agency to drafting Zamir White in the NFL draft. They also had Josh Jacobs play in the Hall of Fame game. And for the first 3 games of the season, the Raiders didn't utilize the running game at all, which is why I feel like the Raiders went 0-3. Once we started utilizing the run game with Josh Jacobs in the backfield, the Raiders started to pick up some traction. Obviously, there's been many games that we won and some games that we should have won. But at the end of the day, one thing is for sure, Josh Jacobs went out there and showed out. I don't even think that we talk about Josh Jacobs right now signing any type of franchise tag if he didn't go out there last year and have the best season of his career, being the best running back of the 2022 season and winning the rushing title. That's what makes the situation so tough to gauge. Do the Raiders give in and offer him the bag, or do they gamble and slap the franchise tag on him? We obviously know now that the team has offered the franchise tag and have stuck by it. And as much as I do feel like Josh Jacobs should get the bag, that's me speaking as a Raider fan, an emotional Raider fan. But when I step back and take a look at the bigger picture and understand that this is a business, offering the franchise tag to Josh Jacobs is probably the smart move for the long run. No pun intended. And I do think that the team is embracing the Las Vegas vibes and are taking a gamble on this situation. That's why you see them working out more running backs this week. From XFL star running back Abram Smith, who played for the Defenders, racking up 926 yards rushing with 10 touchdowns on the ground, while also adding 17 receptions for 135 yards and a touchdown. To Benny Snell, who was a former 4th-round pick for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and he hasn't been seen in the league since 2019. This just shows that the team is preparing for a season without Josh Jacobs. But to think that any of these backs could have a chance to carry this offense on the ground is pretty crazy. There's always the free agency option with guys like Dalvin Cook, Ezekiel Elliott, and even Leonard Fournette out in the open market. Then again, that would depend on the price, and I'm pretty sure that one of these guys are going to be much cheaper than Josh Jacobs this season. Now, the last option that I see for this team could be the guy that we have on the roster right now, Zamir White. He's the youngest guy on the team right now with the freshest legs, with a lot of potential to take the boatload of carries this season. But to say that he could replicate anything that Josh Jacobs has done for the past couple of years has yet to be seen. So with all that being said, even with the reports coming out that Josh Jacobs will not show up to training camp at all, will possibly hold out for most of the season, do I think that he will eventually follow in Saquon Barkleys' footsteps and give in and sign a franchise tag? I do. I really think he does, because I believe that the market is going to be the main factor for him. If he wants to play football anytime this year, he'll be back on this team unless he's okay with sitting out the entire season. Because if you look at the Giants situation, they actually tried to trade Barkley away to many teams, one including the Miami Dolphins, and they were still not able to get any deal done. So I doubt that any other teams would trade for Josh Jacobs. I might be wrong on this, but time will tell. What are your thoughts, Raider Nation? Do you guys think that the Raiders are making the right move for the team, or do you feel like the Raiders should have at least offered him the bag? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. So in some other news, today was the first day that the Raiders players got to go on the field and practice out in this hot ass heat here in Las Vegas. And we got to see a lot of new faces on the field, including our starting quarterback and new franchise quarterback moving forward, Jimmy Garoppolo. Whether or not you like this guy has been getting a lot of praise on and off the field. Josh McDaniels kind of talked about him yesterday in his press conference, a clip that I put on Instagram that I thought was really intriguing to see. McDaniels talked a lot about what he sees in a quarterback and what he sees in Jimmy G and the reason why he brought him over here. And some of the things that he said was things that we see Derek Carr struggle with in the past. They see a lot of good things in Jimmy G that they feel confident enough to make him the starting quarterback, even with the injury history that he had and even with the injury that he had coming into the season. Jimmy talked a little bit about it today in his press conference that, you know, he was never really worried about his foot situation. He's still healing up right now, but he should be ready to go once week 1 starts. But getting back to Josh McDaniels and what he had to say about Jimmy G.
You know, there's a lot of things that a quarterback's responsible for. Jimmy's generally always taken care of the football. He's been a player that's performed well under pressure. He's played in some significant games and some big situations. Some weeks it was throw it a little bit more, some weeks it wasn't. He's had some responsibility to get him in and out of some plays, which most quarterbacks do, and he's generally done a decent job of that. You know, he's a good thrower of the football. There's a lot of things that any quarterback that wins is going to do a lot of things well. There's a lot of guys in the NFL that have done it. Jimmy's done it as well, and I know we try to, see if we can't replicate some of the success he's had. That's obviously why we have him. We're excited about the things that he does well. I know he's eager to try to improve on some things that maybe he didn't feel he was, ready to do at a high level, and we'll try to address those and identify those as we go. But he's generally given his football team an opportunity to win. Most important number for me at that position, it's really the only one I care about. Does he get wins on the board? And generally he has done that.
Now, I really do find this clip interesting because it just shows you that they got their guy now. Jimmy G is going to be their guy, and we can finally gauge how Josh McDaniels' offense looks with a different quarterback instead of going out there and playing with Derek Carr another season to see if it's just going to click. So that's one reason why I'm really excited to see what's going to happen this year. We also heard some things from Devontae Adams today. He actually had some respect for Jimmy G out there. He understands that he's different from Derek Carr, and it's good to see that they're kind of clicking out there. Honestly, I really can't wait to see the pads get put on and see how Jimmy G looks out there, especially with some pressure. You know what I mean? I've seen some clips out there at camp that really look good. His release looked good. Even though they're only 1-yard passes, he looks like he's ready to go out there. But then again, like I said, I want to see how he's going to look with pressure actually on him. Will he be able to move around in the pocket, get out of the pocket, make some reads and whatnot? We'll see. Now, another player that was asked about Jimmy G was the Condor Mad Max Crosby. And I'm not going to say what he said. I just want you guys to watch the video because, man, I love this type of energy.
Jimmy's cool as hell. Been here all offseason with him. He's been training, working his ass off to get back. So I'm fired up that he's out there with us. Literally before practice started, he's already talking shit. So I love it. So that's the kind of guy I want to compete against. That's between us, but he's a competitive dude. I love him. He's a dog. And I'm not just saying that because he's my quarterback. There's certain guys that are dogs, and he's definitely one of them. So I love it. I'm definitely looking forward to competing and getting after his ass.
Jimmy G, talk yo shit out there. I love the fact that he's already ruffling feathers, no pun intended, on Max Crosby, because he's going after the biggest guy in the yard right now, just trying to talk that shit, and I like to see that. That's the type of swagger that we all expected to see from Jimmy G, and the fact that he's already talking this shit out there day one, who knows how it's going to be for the rest of the season. This is something that we haven't had for quite a while. I know that Derek Carr was probably killing a lot of people with kindness, but with Jimmy G over here in Las Vegas, it's a bit of a different story. So like I said, I just love the confidence overall. With that being said, Raider Nation, what are your thoughts on this whole situation? What are your thoughts on Jimmy G as the quarterback of the Las Vegas Raiders? And what are your thoughts on the Josh Jacobs situation, man? Let me know down in the comments below. Until the next video, this is your boy Small Raider and your boys. Yeah.